the 3 bodyguards he trusted with his life, speaking out for the first time. Ashley Banfield spent 3 days with the men who put their lives on the line for the king of pop. Now, no matter what you think about Jackson, what you hear from these men may change how you feel. And Ashley, again, you spent quite a bit of time with these gentlemen.
I did, and I got to be honest, I really expected they were going to trash him because so many people have in the past. It was the opposite, got to be honest. They do want to write a book about him, and they say it's because someone has to defend this guy. They want to call the book In Defense of the King. And really, theirs is a story about a man who is sad and lonely, but mostly an amazing father.
He was the biggest pop star in the world. And at every frenzied moment, just beyond the camera's range, were 3 very big bodyguards: Mike Garcia, Bill Whitfield, and Javon Beard. Now, in this exclusive interview, they're revealing new details, intimate and personal, about Michael Jackson, the father, the brother, the prisoner of his fame.
There were times that he vented, and he vented loudly. Why don't people just leave me alone?
But Michael trusted them with his life, with his kids, and with his secrets.
We became more than just security.
With personal assistance.
And I'll say in the beginning, it was like, this is not our job. But then after a while, once we got to see what the situation and everything was, and how there was nobody else around, there was no entourage or anything else. It was just us.
They were on guard 24/7, traveling with Jackson and his kids across the country. When they weren't on the road, the family called this rented Las Vegas mansion home.
The walls stretch right around this compound. It's a veritable fortress. And although you and I might look at this as a beautiful Las Vegas oasis, bodyguards said that Michael hated being here.
For you and I, it's a great house.
Right.
But for security for Michael Jackson and his kids, horrible house.
They say Jackson felt exposed here. Too many neighbors, paparazzi swarming at the gate, even hiding in the trees. But it was in this house that these men learned more about Michael Jackson than almost anyone else.
Was he a good dad?
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. The kids would constantly tell him, you know, I love you, Daddy,
Right.
things like that.
So
it was like the
sweet.
4 buddies, you know. I mean, that was their world.
And they say he did all he could to shield Prince, Paris, and Blanket from the media frenzy.
Did he know the headlines that said Wacko Jacko?
Sometimes you've seen him, and you would actually see him take it and turn it around so
Right.
the kids didn't see it.
He was successful in shielding those kids from these headlines.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yes.
Did he know that the reason so many people thought he was bizarre was because of some of his behavior?
Everything he did, he didn't find a problem with.
Right.
He didn't think it was weird.
Different, I'd use the word different. Weird, no.
And as for the kids,
It's regular kids.
But with IQs of a 21-year-old. You know?
Older, certainly.
You know?
Very well mannered.
Very polite.
polite. Just look at this note from Paris regarding the family cat. Bill, I would very much like it if you could get more canned tuna for Katie. Thank you so much. I appreciate it very much.
Because sometimes, you know, Hollywood celebrity kids aren't particularly polite or nice to be around.
I mean, sometimes they would say little things as far as like, well, Bill, Daddy wants you to go get some cookies for us. They'll say little kids things,
playing you.
knowing that he didn't say that. Like, they would do little stuff like that.
Little kid
all we'll
things.
do is just ask the client, would you like us to go get some? No.
Right.
Prince, get up here. Like, why are you telling them that?
Taking the kids to fast food drive-thrus was one of Michael's favorite things to do.
And we would go through a drive-through, and he insisted on ordering himself.
Michael Jackson.
Right.
I'll have a Big Mac.
As we drove to the window to pay for it, he would just say, if these people only knew
who just ordered this.
Right. And we would just laugh.
Did
We
they?
sit there and laugh like they really don't know.
They really don't know.
They never knew.
No,
Can I
not
get
at
a
all.
double cheeseburger,
Not at all.
please?
Yeah.
Right.
Birthdays were extravagant, but very lonely.
Cotton candy machine, the popcorn machine, the
Right.
clown that makes the makeup, does the balloons.
But how many kids would come?
None.
No kids.
None.
No.
Who would be there?
Mr. Jackson, his kids, the nanny, school teacher,
Us.
us.
That's about it.
Daddy?
A portrait of an isolated yet adoring family, one often overshadowed by questions of paternity.
When you met the kids, you wonder, but as you got to know the kids, it didn't matter.
But perhaps a deeper issue, his relationship with other children. Though he was cleared of molestation charges in 2003, a shadow of speculation remained.
Was he a pedophile?
No,
No, we don't believe so.
I don't believe so.
Not at all.
Being a father myself and being a man, men know men. He had the desires of women like we do.
In fact, they say he had at least 2 girlfriends, dispelling that other rumor.
We had a curtain that covered the back seat. You couldn't see in the back seat. They talked back there and, you know.
So he's making out in the back seat?
Or chewing loud gum.
It sounds like you're chaperoning 2 teenagers on a date.
Right,
That was cute for us.
Right.
As for Michael's sometimes bizarre appearance, they say these bandages had nothing to do with secret surgeries.
Was he concealing an injury with those bandages?
No. That disguise to him was the burn victim look. Just
It
looked
was a
like
disguise?
It was a disguise to him.
When you saw him coming downstairs getting ready to get in the car with the bandages, what did you think?
Something's up with him.
Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah, something's up.
Did you ever tell him?
How could you tell him that?
Right.
He's coming down with the kids, so we can't say, like, what the hell you got on, sir?
But perhaps the biggest mystery about Michael Jackson is the one he took to his grave, how and why he died.
It did appear that a few times that he was on something. You know, you could tell his demeanor. It was different than having been around him for so long. It changed. You knew something was not right at the moment.
He was the king of pop, adored by millions, but really known by very few. These 3 men, Mike Garcia, Bill Whitfield, and Javon Beard, were among them.
We was with Michael Jackson, the person, not the entertainer.
It was their job to protect Michael Jackson.
We never did it on that level as far as like him. That's like, he's like protecting the president.
Soon they began to see the very personal, poignant, and distressing sides of Michael Jackson's life.
They didn't come around much. And when they did come, they came unexpected. And we would make Mr. Jackson aware that, you know, one of your family members is outside the gate, would like to see you. And he would sometimes ask, do they have an appointment?
Michael would ask if his family members had appointments?
Yes.
When his father came, he was like, does he have an appointment?
But they say that didn't stop Michael's youngest brother, Randy, from trying.
There was another occasion when Randy came to the house and crashed the security gate with his vehicle. I drew my weapon on him, and first thing out his mouth was, get that gun out of my face or I'm calling the press, which took me back.
Unbelievable.
We made Mr. Jackson aware that your brother Randy is downstairs asking to see you very adamantly. And
What did Michael say?
he was not happy.
Did he see him?
No.
No.
Randy Jackson admits he was there that night, but denies he ever set foot on the property. And as for that much talked about family intervention for Michael's alleged drug abuse, they say they were there for that too.
And he said, I'll only see my brothers.
They never got into the house.
No, he came outside.
He came into the trailer.
Security trailer, right.
He met his brothers in the security trailer.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
How was Michael afterwards?
Fine.
He didn't seem upset?
No, he just left the trailer and went back in the house. I was the point man when it came to emailing.
Email came to his laptop.
Everything came to me.
So you were the gatekeeper?
Oh, absolutely.
For sure.
It wasn't a phone call on our watch that didn't go through any paperwork that didn't go through this man right here.
And that paperwork revealed a lot. Millions of dollars in debts, much of it to law firms, and millions more being paid out. All this while they waited to be paid, sometimes for months on end.
10 million, 20 million.
Gone.
I'm seeing all these zeros and
Gone.
I'm like, where's my little...
He was
And we
going
can't
out,
get a $5,000 check.
Right. It was going out faster than it was coming in.
They say Michael was always being sued long after that criminal trial in 2005 where he was cleared of child molestation charges. They say he always chose to settle.
I mean, we go to a lawyer's office and we're there from 10 a.m. in the morning to midnight.
And that took its toll.
He got so frustrated, he threw my cell phone out the window, through the window. And then he looked at me and said, Bill, you're going to need a new phone.
But even with so much money changing hands, they say credit cards were declined and hotels were evicting.
We were asked to leave hotels because the credit card on file was being
Bill wasn't paid.
Denied. And
Michael Jackson's credit cards were declined.
Someone wasn't paying the bill.
How often would this happen?
I remember 4 different occasions.
When longtime friend Jesse Jackson turned 66, they say Michael and his entourage, seen here leaving the party in this TMZ video, couldn't even afford to get there.
Jesse Jackson put up his credit card to fly the entire staff and team out, put us up in a hotel for 3 nights.
Jesse paid for everything.
Yes.
Did he seem like he had a drug problem?
A drug problem? No.
Not a drug problem.
Not a problem.
Not a problem.
Certainly there were times that he gave the appearance that he was probably high on something.
He was intoxicated in some way, but not, I wouldn't say a problem, no.
On occasion, he would ask for marijuana?
He'd ask about it.
Yeah.
He'd ask about it.
And when it came to Jackson's insomnia, the guards say they witnessed plenty.
It's 3 o'clock. What's the dance floor open on? Watching, put the flashlight on. Oh, that's just the boss practicing.
3
Right back to our trailer.
Sure.
3, 4 a.m. Wee hours of the night.
What of the relationship with doctors, one of whom, Dr. Conrad Murray, is now charged in his death?
When he came onto the scene, he was taking care of the kids. Kids had colds and, and were sick and stuff. He was taking care of the kids.
There's a lot of blame that's being zeroed in towards Dr. Murray.
One person.
Scapegoat.
I never thought it was at the fault or at the hands of one person.
They say they weren't in L.A. when Jackson died, but were among thousands of people at the Staples Center for the memorial.
I looked around. I looked at a lot of celebrities, a lot of stars.
Where were they?
And it just made me just wonder, where were they? Or
where were they?
Were these some of the people that turned their back on him after the second trial?
The guy was so lonely. Where were they?
And I just wanted to say I love him so much.
To see Paris on that stage.
It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable.
That hurt me.
I don't even want to talk about it.
Yeah,
It was a quiet ride home.
If they're listening to this, what do you want the kids to hear? What do you want to say to the kids?
Wow. I don't know. I'm a little speechless on that right now.
Threw us off.
Yeah. Certainly we hope that we did the best that we could to make them feel like kids and provide them with some of the things that made them feel comfortable.
You were everything to your, to their father.
That's right. Yeah. And he was everything to them.
Mm-hmm.
But he's watching them now.
He's watching.
Definitely.
And we're proud of y'all.
Oh, yeah.
No matter what, we are proud of you guys.
Yeah.
Definitely.
They say they really stuck around for the kids and out of loyalty to Michael Jackson, even though, as I said yesterday, George, they went for 4 months at a spate without being paid. They do not blame Michael Jackson for that, by the way. Not at all. They said he was mismanaged and that's where their lack of pay came from, but they never left. Their cars were being repossessed, and they still never left him.
They don't seem to blame him for much, and it's clear that they loved those kids, and they saw things that no one could expect to see.
Some more bizarre things, in fact. I don't know if you knew this, but Michael Jackson used to cover up the mirrors, apparently, according to these guys, in the hotels that he checked into. He would avoid mirrors in public. If he got into an elevator, he would shield his eyes from them. He feared that there were cameras behind a lot of the mirrors. He used to travel with a briefcase, apparently full of cash. Don't ask me why. Maybe it was because the credit cards were being
Didn't always have enough, but
yeah. And then also, he loved eBay. He was a huge eBay fan, apparently. He was on eBay all the time. And if you want to go on the web, abcnews.com, great stuff, including what they thought of Janet. Apparently, she had no status in that family. They called her Little Janet. She was like the little sister who couldn't really speak up, especially at that rumored intervention that Janet even talked about herself.